now we're at the step where we're going to put the holes in for the laterals to go into each one of the posts. And this is my fourth one. I've got 3 over here that I'm going to show you here in a second. I wasn't real sure how I was going to do this, and I've never really used a plunge grinder before, I mean a plunge router before. So I wanted to make sure that I kind of had the process down before I put it on camera. So I'm going to take the camera down, take you over there to see the ones that I've got done, and then come back over here and make a quick video on how I put these holes in. Here are the 3 that I have done, and to keep everything even, you can see here on this end that they're all the same amount down, but here on the bottom there is a variation in the bottoms because of the grade of the concrete, but they're all 5 5/8 from here to the bottom of the posts, and that's in order for them to go down into those little stanchions there at the bottom. And those are going to be covered with the 6x6 vinyl cladding. Okay, I got done routing in that last hole for the lateral, and I am back from an appointment. We're going to tear this fence down and start putting in the posts and make measurements for the wood and the vinyl for the laterals. And we're going to actually put this into time lapse so that it won't take so long. The new posts are in place and they're plumb. We've secured them with these 3-inch flathead timber screws, and the next thing we're going to do is cut the laterals to length. We can take the measurements now since we know that they're plumb, and then we'll start the assembly process. All right, things didn't go quite as planned today. Had a few interruptions, and then I ran into a kerfuffle. This post right behind me here, the plan was to pull out the 4 mounting bolts that go into the concrete that hold that stanchion where the post mounts to. Well, wouldn't you know it, 2 of those anchor bolts broke off about halfway down before they came out. So I had to remove that, drill some other holes in it, and replace the anchors to firm it back up. But all right, I'm back at it again. Had to take off yesterday for a school tournament for my granddaughter's tennis, which she ended up in first place, second singles, and we're very proud of her. But we're gonna look at getting these bases covered on the fence that we've got up so far, and let me turn this camera around and show you what I've got planned. All right, here's the end look that I'm looking for, but the trim pieces, top and bottom, come in 2-piece sections and they just snap together, but the bottom here is still quite loose. You can see that it moves around quite a bit, and what I want to do is I want to fill that void with expanding foam. All right, here are the items that I've got set up, prepared for doing the first one, and I believe that I am going to try to duct tape that Gorilla Tape there around the base and around the top here, just enough so that it doesn't move the base around, and that instead of coming out these cracks here on that cover, that it will hopefully migrate up into the post itself to help keep that centered on the wood. But we'll see how things go. All right, it's been about 40 minutes since I started this project, and while this first one was expanding and drying, I went ahead and I did the other three, and what I'm going to attempt now, it says it dries to attack within 15 minutes. I'm going to try to trim that up, pull the tape off that needs to come off, pull those other screws out, and go ahead and clean things up and see if I can caulk that top trim piece in and get it how it's going to look, and then we're going to get started on the pickets. All right, going to turn the camera around, put it on time lapse again. Okay, there's the caulking I used. It's Almond GE Advanced Silicone, and there's the finished product. So we'll let that dry, and we've gone around over here on the other side some of the joints, and I did that the first day, and I kind of ran out of time. And so we'll finish up the other three just like that one, and then caulk in the rest of the laterals over here, and then the pickets will start going in, and we'll see how that's all going to look together. Okay, got all the stanchions covered, got the laterals caulked in, and real pleased how everything came out. And before I went to grab some supper, put up my first set of pickets, and as you can see, I started in the center with a single, went a double each side, then single, doubles the rest of the way out. And just with that length, it happened to come out very close to the same spacing on the ends as it is in the middle. But I made just a board that will fit in between them once I have the center one in and plumb. But then I made these boards, one for the top and one for the bottom. They're identical. They were shorter to fit in between this space, but they go on there, and a board on the bottom just to keep from scarring up the vinyl, and then another one that goes up from the bottom and they clamp on, and that what that does is give me my 47.5 inches from end to end. And as you can see, looking across the top of those, they all are equally spaced down from the top, and the same on the bottom. And then also, as you look down through them, you can see that they all have the same arch. So I'm going to set the camera up on time lapse over on this side over here, and you can see how I accomplished this first section over here. Okay, that didn't go too bad. Everything went just like the other side, as I'd hoped and planned. And tomorrow, hopefully, we're going to get started. I'm going to get started on that gate section. All right, it's the next morning, and as you can see, I've gotten some things out, started putting, laying things out on a shipping blanket, and I've got the two upper rails made and the cross braces laid out, how I picture them to be. And over here on the left hand side, I've got one of those put together as far as for the bottom rail, and I'm going to show you how I put these together. Now when we get these covers from Color Guard, they're a little bit narrow for fitting in here, so what I have to do is I go in and I take off 1/8 of an inch side of the lateral here, and so that it'll fit in there. And in doing that, it squares up the corners, so I got to come back and just kind of round it out so that it fits into the vinyl cladding. I made a bunch of these end plates up out of just the scrap material that I had laying around. I throw a little bit of silicone underneath of them, snap them into place, but I leave the 2x about 3/16 of an inch inside the end, so that when I snap this in, I can run around it with some silicone and clean up the ends nicely, so when they're exposed, they look finished. All right, take a look at the end, and gives it that finished look. And I put that on all ends of the gate, because when it swings open, you'll see the ends. When you have it locked open, if that's the way I go, you'll see the ends. So it just gives it a more finished look. And another thing I did this morning was went out back to Lowe's and purchased some different hinges. And they're heavier, and they are larger in areas, and didn't figure this out when I started the project, but I decided that I'm just going to stick with them. But to get the hinge to line up to the lateral that's going across, I'm going to end up running into my cap. So I'm going to end up cutting it off and just flushing it up to the cap. Of course, it does go this way, but just to show you that, to line that up to the center of the rail like that, I'm going to have about that much that's going to need to be cut off. I'll re-drill another hole in there, and the same thing on the other side. The bottom two hinges, I won't need to cut. They'll seem to fit by almost 1/8 of an inch. But I'll hopefully be happy with the way it turns out. I got those cross braces screwed in, and since they're not attached in the middle of the X braces, they're still kind of like wet noodles. And I didn't know exactly what I was going to do as far as this layout goes, but this is what I decided. I'm going to put 2 of them. Now I'm going to move them a little bit farther apart. As you can see on this end over here, that they're about 1 inch away. I'm going to move those to 1/4 inch away from the edge of the vinyl, and I'm going to move these a little farther apart so that you can actually maybe grab them with your hand without catching your fingernails on the one next to it when you go to open the gate from the outside. And it is busy with the X brace in the background, but I think that's what I'm going to go with for right now. But I'm going to get them up. I've over here in the opening, I've set up blocks, set up a string across the top, and I'm going to set them up there and get them so they're setting level where they're supposed to be. And then I'm going to go ahead and start attaching, and for the final adjustment I'm going to come back and I'm going to rivet right in that cross to hold them securely. At least I hope it will. That's the plan. All right, I got all cleaned up, got ready to go to a tennis match, and the opposing team had a transportation issue. So I'm back in my shorts, and I'm going to see if I can get the pickets on the gated part, but I'm going to do it time lapse. All right. All right, just like that, it's the next day. I finished up last night by putting that latch on between the 2 gates, just so it wouldn't be swinging in the wind. And now I'm coming up with a way to secure the bottom. Now I used the old hardware from the gate that I took down. I painted it last night, but I'm going to be grinding a lot of it off and welding. But I'm going to turn the camera around and show you what my plans are. All right, the way this was situated on the last gate is that these were on the post, and there was an extra board up here, and then there was this piece up here that held the pin up when you weren't using it. And what I'm going to do, or attempt to do, is take these brackets and weld them onto this plate right here, kind of in that manner right there, and then I'm going to use this end of the plate to hang over about an inch to actually keep these in line with one another. And then the pin, when it comes down through here, I actually found a piece from McMaster Carts, kind of like a broom holder up on the wall, but it's 1.25 inches long, and it just kind of a spring snap. So what I'm hoping that it'll do is have enough tension when I pick this up that, you know, it will hold it up in place, and I can shove it down through it and get it down into the hole in the concrete to secure it. And the next thing is going to be putting rivets in these cross braces on both gates. Well, bet you'll never guess where I'm going. Yep, another tennis match. So we're gonna head out of town on the away game, and we'll see how things go tonight. Should be a fairly easy match for them, but had to quit early on the fence. I think the last time you saw me, I was wailing on those rivets, trying to get those peened over, and I finally got them, but now I'm going to have to go back, and I am going to heat that area up where I mangled it up with the little vice grips and where I hit it with a hammer, and I'm going to heat that up again, and I'm going to take some of that paste, that wax that I dipped each one of those pickets in, and I'm going to wipe it on there with a rag and see if I can't get that all to blacken and somewhat match the pickets and their color. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. All right, it's the next day, and I'm off to a late start, but what I'm gonna attempt to do, I took some of this waxy material out of my dip tube that I had for dipping my pickets in these braces, and I'm going to try to heat this area up with the hand torch, and then I've seen guys on YouTube taking and smearing this on some of the rag and then just dabbing it into place. So that's going to be in my attempt. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but we're going to see. And again, I'm going to take and put it on time lapse. That went pretty well as far as I'm concerned. The colors should blend in over time, and that's kind of the results that I wanted as far as more of a, just rather than a bolt going through there, that rivet. And at this point, I'm well pleased with it. All right, the first section is done. That last clip that you saw with me with the red jacket on was about 2 weeks ago. I got slammed. I had a friend who needed help with a crawl space and a floor for his bathroom. If you go to my shorts, you can see a 1-minute clip of what we went through, but I also closed up the pool, got coal in, and now I am going to make a short clip here of the finished product and the thumbnails so I can get this thing posted. All right, sorry to make you wait so long. I'll try to make the next one quicker. All right, bye. Thanks again to LumaFusion for the ease at which I can edit these videos. It's to the point where it's becoming fun.